Monday Night Raw was filled with lots of story-driven plots in there. And truth be told, there are a lot of plot-driven stories in, and everything, in my opinion, had just the right amount of level of mystery and teasing like I would expect there to be in one of these, because SmackDown had them, and I think this is probably one of Raw's best episodes. It's not up there with SmackDown, but it's still a pretty good story progressing episode of Monday Night Raw, if you would have to ask me. I'm not here to talk about any of the main stories, what would happen to someone if that story were to produce. And that person I'm talking about is JD McDonough. And I know JD McDonough isn't really the main focus in the Judgment Day story. Of course, Dom and Liv were the main focus. Liv and Rhea should have had a better feud. I still think that Dom's part should have been over at Bass in Berlin. Was that the pay-per-view? I don't remember. He's basically the main protagonist in a harem anime. All the women around him want his dirty Doms. He is an absolute loser. At least he's not a simp like that person. I'm talking about JD. Sorry to get distracted. The reason why I say I would feel bad for JD McDonough is because JD McDonough has went from solid choice, or in my opinion, he had everything going in NXT and NXT UK. Like, I loved his work in OTT against Zack Sabre Jr. That dude, Gunther. Oh, sorry, not Gunther. Walter. See, Walter, not Gunther. Walter. I love his work back in OTT, and even in NXT UK, he had great matches with Ilya Dragunov, A-Kid, one half of Wolfgang. I can't remember that match. And even down in NXT, he had great feuds with Dragunov, Tyler Bate, the triple threat match. But ever since going to the main roster, it feels like all those moments in his NXT UK and NXT days were just a peak, because I don't think him being in Judgment Day has really benefited him in the slightest. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have won the tag team championships and getting TV time, which is always good. But since they had those tag team titles, I feel like he has gotten less valuable, in my opinion, because truth be told, he's taking both hits and pitfalls. But I'm here to say that what I think is going to happen is Dom is going to cost them the tag belts against the Roar Raiders, and I don't know where JD is going to end up in that situation. And I don't want him to go back to wandering around the mid card. There are two possible explanations that I think would happen if they do lose the belts to the Roy Raiders. I think either one or two things are going to happen. Is either after they lose, they are going to be pissed off at Dom and go after him, because he's only one man, and Dom doesn't need the group. Dom's success has only risen because of them. Like, I don't think he found success any other way. But I do think Dom leaving would probably benefit him too, because this group is starting to crash and burn. Or the second possible thing that would happen is Finn would leave, or Finn would take his anger out on JD McDonough, because in the past they have feuded before, and that too is one of JD's and Finn's underrated matches that they had that I really loved. Or then he could just turn on JD, because truth be told, I kind of see Finn going down that route where he's just gonna be all alone again and doesn't want anyone around him. Let's all be honest, the only reason this group is still existing is because of R-Truth, and we all know that, because if R-Truth did not show up in the group, the Judgment Day would have been buried. I hate to say that, but we all know it's true. I just hope that JD McDonough does make a comeback in a way, because if you ask me, I feel like there's so many feuds he could be having here. He could be having one against Braun Breaker or Dragunov, since they had way back in their NXT UK days and NXT days. But I feel like is where he falls off, and I really don't want to see that because I've been a fan of this guy. I just hope that I'm wrong and they do keep the belts and JD at least gets more TV time in the Judgment Day, but he's being treated like a jobber, and I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. But hey, that's enough for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Darth, unite.